Hello everyone, I'm here to give a presentation about the very first electronic general purpose computer, which is called Eniac. So here's what we are going to talk about. Firstly, I'll tell you a little something about the history of this computer, and then we'll talk about the basic features of Eniac. And then we will talk about women participating in running Eniac. And we will try to compare this old computer Eniac with today's technology. And finally, I'll tell you about Eniac's fate and where parts of it can be found nowadays. So let us start. Eniac stands for Electronic Numeral Integrator and Computer, and it was announced in the year 1946. And the press called it a giant brain. And it created such a fuss in the American society. Everyone was so excited about creating the very first fully electronic computer, because earlier there had been only electronic mechanical computers. John Lashley and Presper Eckert, you can see them on the screen, started working on the project named Project PX. The project was completed in the year 1946, February 14th. Formally accepted by the US Army in July 1946, but in November 1946 the project was shut down, and the machine needed renovation and some update, so it was transferred to Maryland, and on July 29, 1947 the machine was turned on. And now we talked about the history of Eniac. Let us talk about some features of this remarkable machine. So the first one is its speed. This machine was 100 times faster than all the machines previously available. Eniac was a multitasking machine. It could trigger several operations at the same time, which is why it was so effective. And the second remarkable thing about Eniac is its size. You can see that this machine filled the whole room, and there were so many people working with this machine. Well, one person couldn't run this computer by himself. It weighed 27 tons and it consumed 150 kilowatts of power. Now, about its complexity. Well, you can see that Eniac consisted of a lot of vacuum tubes, so crystal diodes and relays and resistors, so it was very complex, and it was actually very heavy and very hard to figure out. Next one is reliability. Well, most of the scientists those days doubted this machine, because they thought that the tube failures would ruin the whole process. Well, they were partially right, because the tubes burnt out almost every day, and it was impossible to work with the numbers, because all the information was just lost. And then Mr. Eckert found a way to solve the problem. He noticed that the tubes burned down when the machine was turned on or switched off. So he decided to never switch off the computer. And it worked, because the tube failures lowered and the machine started working more effectively. But still, it was very complex to find a burnt out tube. Now it's programmability. Well, it is very hard to input data into this computer, because firstly the information had to be written down on paper in detail, and then a whole staff of people had to input the data into this computer, and it could take days to solve some problem. But anyway, they managed to do this. And even though it was rather hard to work with Eniac, not only men programmers worked with Eniac, but also women programmers. You can see their names on the screen, and some of these girls are still alive. As far as the size of Eniac is concerned, Eniac could be compared to nowadays supercomputers. But talking about its power, it is much less powerful than our computers, our desktop computers. So comparing Eniac with today's technology, we can see that our technology is faster, it's easier to use, and it's louder and it is more effective. Eniac does not exist now in one piece. It was chopped into pieces, and then parts of Eniac were transferred to different places. For example, in Pennsylvania, in Washington, even in the Science Museum in London, and Texas and Michigan, and so on. I'd like you to see some interesting things. These are coins made for Eniac's 40th anniversary. You can see the coin and the coin with the picture of the creators of Eniac. So that's all I wanted to tell you today. Thank you for your attention.